is a solid debut. Despite it being like, a familiar story, it's very different and original.
So what happened?
She cheated on me with my best friend.
You cheated on Tom? With him?
Oh, that hurts a little bit.
I mean, I get it. The arms are nice, but why'd she even talk about it?
Are you just going to sit there and let her say that to me?
What's up, YouTube? Drive-By Movies here, and you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And today we're checking out the new film that hit Hulu just a little bit ago, Rye Lane.
Sometimes you just gotta see what happens. Just go where the breeze takes you. Are you sure you're down for this?
Yeah.
Rye Lane is the story of two youngsters reeling from bad breakups who connect over an eventful day in South London. So the irony here is that last week we reviewed a Hulu film and we talked about how Hulu is a dumping ground for 20th Century Studios, or aka 20th Century Fox's pictures being dropped, like Boston Strangler, and now we're getting Rye Lane. Does that mean that the quality of the films that are getting dropped there is necessarily bad or good? Well, we'll be the judge. Anyways, James, what'd you think of the film Rye Lane?
Yeah, so I'm getting the idea that you liked this movie, Blaise, then, from the way you worded it. Because I loved it too. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. And funny that we were talking so much crap about like Hulu last week and just butchering a movie that didn't necessarily deserve to be butchered. Like the Boston Strangler was just a very bland, dull movie that we're just like there's so much better options out there. Like, bummer that like this is now just the dumping ground for Disney to put their movies on Hulu that they acquired from 20th Century. But no, this is a fantastic movie. It's easily the best movie I've seen this year, I'd say. Absolutely great. Like, while it might not be the most original movie, it's just very different take on the story of just like boy meets girl, fall in love after just talking with one another for like, a day period. This takes place over multiple days, but still has that feel of like Before Sunrise and the rest of the movies within that trilogy. But yeah, there's a lot of other things I'd like to discuss. But yeah, what are your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was pretty much in the same boat. I really enjoyed this movie. It checked a lot of boxes of things that I like. First off, you're just going to get the elephant out of the room. It's like, I think it was like 80 something minutes, which usually is a sign that a movie's bad. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when we get into it, I'm like, oh, it's 80 minutes. That intrigues me. Like, just because I would prefer a shorter movie. Both of us were huge 90-minute movie fans, but then this was 80 minutes. I was like, what's going on here? Don't know why it's 80 minutes, but obviously, I think I preferred it. I think the film is subtle, sweet. It's short, but it tells a full story here. Like you said, it's not really necessarily the most original movie in a way, but it has a lot of things from movies that you've probably seen that you'll enjoy, but also still pretty inventive in the style that's in the film, at least with the way that it's filmed. It doesn't really seem like anything else you're watching that's come out in the past couple months. So it did feel kind of original in like a visual sense, especially with like a lot of the maybe not the situations, but like the way that it was filmed, especially like the use of the wide angle and anamorphic lenses. I felt like I haven't seen something like that kind of in your face. There's oftentimes where the characters are like right next to the camera and they're being all distorted by it, which I thought was cool. And I was like, oh, usually, you wouldn't use a wide angle lens with your subjects just right next to the camera. The only times you really see that is, to give a really weird kind of fisheye effect with distortion, or maybe in like the works of Jean-Pierre Jeunet. So it was cool to see that like in a different style and being utilized.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the main thing that I wanted to get into, just discussing the overall different look within this movie, because it's a fun way to tell a story. Us two being fans of mumblecore movies, like, of course, like there's not really a whole lot that goes into those movies. It's just a lot of just like, let's just shoot this with our friends and stuff. It doesn't really need to be pretty. It's just all about the performances. And while this movie's all about the performances, a lot of things that like I really love and enjoy is just making a scene interesting for something that's like relatively could be boring. And that's this movie just for 80 minutes straight or 90 minutes straight. Only thing I can think of like comparing it to honestly is Paul King's directing for the Paddington movies of just like going kind of overly crazy with the vibrant coloring, as well as just having like a fun way of showing a flashback and stuff. Like a lot of it just feels very like fun with just like, you know, them arguing or like kind of interjecting themselves within a flashback within the movie and making a joke out of it. Like it's just a very fun take of like, you know, instead of giving us exposition or just showing us just a normal flashback, whether like, you know, movies like will do like a fun take where like maybe the flashback's in black and white or something, or just has some voiceover and we just see a clip. But no, it's just like a really fun way of just interjecting different stuff, like whether they're talking about their breakups. It's just a lot of fun the way they went about a lot of the different stuff within the movie.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is just that meet cute movie. It's quirky at times, but never too much where it gets that kind of weird off-putting vibe of like, oh, it's a quirky movie. You know, I think it obviously helps having this be, you know, set in London and using that as a backdrop. It definitely helps. It makes it, you know, gives it more of a cooler edge than if, you know, this was shot somewhere else. I feel like. Like it's foreign but not too foreign or foreign enough, but yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. I honestly think like it was wrongfully dropped on Hulu. This probably would have, I don't know if it would have done better in theaters. I don't think that's the right choice, but I think a better audience for this than maybe just that small Hulu audience. It kind of does tie into like the stuff that people enjoy on Hulu, like The Bear or other FX shows. So I think the audience will find it on there. I just think the audience could be wider on maybe other platforms.
Yeah, this movie I think would have got pretty decent word of mouth if it played in a, you know, like select theaters and stuff. Me being in LA, like there's a chain called Lemley Theaters and stuff. And this is a movie that I could have seen easily, like, you know, get great word of mouth and being packed on Friday nights with all the fun young people who are just really big on cinema and stuff. Like, yes, of course, there's a huge audience within Hulu. It's easier access for everyone and stuff. But we're constantly bringing up on the show how Netflix there's just so much content that, like, you know, it might be the talk of the week and stuff. You see it on the homepage, but, you know, the next week it's gone, and then you just have to know about it already, and you have to have added it to your watch list and just hopefully watch it someday and stuff. So I really hope that's not the case within this movie, just because it is a very fun watch, and I hope it does great with you know, really fun word of mouth and stuff. So I'm glad that it's available for a lot of people to watch, but just I didn't hear about it till you wanted to review it, and I'm glad I did, just because it's a fun watch and it's a directorial debut for Rain Allen Miller, actually. So really looking forward to see what else they do, just because this is a solid debut. Despite it being like, you know, a familiar story, it's very different and original.
Yeah, most definitely. And I thought that beyond just the directing, like seeing the two stars and the two leads of this film really break out, as, you know, this is definitely going to be like the beginning of their story. At least I didn't really look up too much if they've been in other stuff, but it does feel like they're going to be tapped for, like, I mean, this is Disney's going to tap them for like the next big property. If that's the vibe I'm catching, at least, you know, like some of their other people that they've been using lately have come from some of these small indies, whether it's the directors or other actors in a lot of their, you know, major properties. So hopefully, you know, there's big breaks all around, because it would be cool to see also, you know, other you know, if this director has other things in mind. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that's going to get snatched up to direct the Marvel Secret Wars.
Right, yeah. That's only time will tell, and we've constantly kind of called it out, and it always happens and stuff like but yeah, like going back to the actors though, like yeah, just the chemistry is there with every character, even within the villains of the movie. Not that there's like really villains within the movie, but like, you know, the exes that we constantly hear about, they're even just fun to watch and stuff too. Like the banter that we're seeing, like, you know, you really get the sense that there's like, these are just real people, real conversations that a lot of people would have had and stuff, and how they'd approach the current situations that they're all in and stuff. Like, I love Tribe Called Quest, so seeing that kind of the whole movie like, you know, the premise isn't about Tribe Called Quest, but just like seeing that a big aspect of the movie is just like the plot of just trying to get a vinyl record back from an ex is just like hilarious to me for such a great album too as well.
Do you have that album, or are you gonna go purchase it now?
I actually have the Greatest Hits by Tribe Called Quest, so like maybe I'm not a true fan, I guess, but like, you know, I love all the hits and stuff. I remember when I worked at Hot Topic back in the day, I'd always put on the Greatest Hits by Tribe Called Quest. So, you know, I know a lot of the songs that are on my Greatest Hits album are from that album and stuff. So, you know, I should probably check it out more front to back and stuff and hear why it's like such a classic. But, you know, great band altogether, and, you know, great musical artists, and even their newer stuff I thought was catchy as hell. But yeah, it's just, you know, a fun take on them, and just like seeing like, you know, how much they love this album and trying to get it. And then also like, you know, the like really nice symbolism within the movie without spoiling too much towards the end and what happens with the album and stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. So, I mean, I think, honestly, if you have Hulu, you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching this movie. It's extremely enjoyable. It's a fun time, and definitely go check it out.
Yeah, so I just canceled my Hulu subscription recently, so it's going out with a bang by watching this movie and stuff. So don't expect any Hulu like movies from us anytime soon, unless it's like a huge hit. Maybe you know, get it back for a month again if for the next big hype indie movie or something. But yeah, it's a really great watch. It's easy to access, like we said, and stuff. So hope you enjoy it. Like, definitely go check it out, watch it on your account, and come back here, leave a comment letting us know what you thought about the movie, because that's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And if you can't get enough of us here on YouTube, be sure to catch all our social media links down below for Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as Letterboxd accounts. That'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.